Carrock 955, Tom, Lingy and Loggy, special guest joining us via Zoom now, Log.
Will Anderson, we love him, and he's back again with Question Everything. Great show on the ABC. Good morning, Will.
Oh, good morning, Geelong, is what I would like to say. It's going to be like a very good morning for you guys for a very long time, isn't it? I mean, it is. I just like to ask the question that everybody obviously has to ask each other is, what do you think of Joel Selwood? What do you think of Joel Selwood? Could you please tell me what you think of Joel Selwood?
Well, I think Geelong fans are fairly unanimous in that. I still like the fact that there's some other fans out there, Will, who still don't like him. He irritates them when he's on the field.
Well, of course he irritates them when he's on the field. We were talking about this off air, Lingy. Like my sister and my best mate are both St Kilda fans, and Joel Selwood has now won more finals than St Kilda has in 150 years. Of course, it's hard to feel entirely behind that person when you look at them with that sort of jealousy, isn't it? So I understand it, but what a legend. What a great weekend for Geelong. I've never seen a more impressive grand final performance by a team. They just came together. And I think it's time that we've just got to reach out to Jeremy Cameron, guys, because I was watching it on TV. I wasn't there at the ground. And if you're watching on the TV, Jeremy Cameron's going to cash converters a lot, guys. Is he okay? Should we? He's on a pretty good contract living down in that part of the world. Like, he's a premiership player now. Does he really need to be going to cash converters so often? Is he okay with it?
Lingy, you've got a bit of insight into that as well. You're heavily involved with those guys as well for a while there.
Yeah. Now let Jez keep going there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, can we talk about this then, Lingy? What's Jeremy Cameron doing putting his premiership medallion on a cow? Now, this is
so good.
I can't answer that question. Listen, he can do what he likes with his cash converter stuff, but why you would put a premiership medal around a calf and then say, just do what you like and go for it? I'm not sure he was in the most stable state of mind at that stage of the night.
Well, all I know is I grew up on a dairy farm for the first 17 years of my life, and I never came home from like a high school sports carnival and Dad thought he should pin my ribbons on a Frisian. It doesn't really seem like the right way to celebrate to me.
But didn't it look good on his Insta, Will? It looked like it was a fun time.
I mean, it did look like a fun time. It was actually very wholesome content, wasn't it? It was exactly what you wanted from, when everyone talks about Jeremy Cameron and why he went to Geelong, there's always the narrative around he's this super player and it's all this money and all this sort of thing. But there's also the other narrative of he's a country boy and he wants to have that sort of lifestyle. And you never know which of those two is absolutely true when you hear those stories. But with Jeremy Cameron, it's 100% he's a country boy. If he's putting his medal on a cow in the morning to celebrate, how did he fit in Western Sydney? No one's getting up to that business in the western suburbs of Sydney. That is not happening.
Did you ever play sport, Will, as a kid or anything?
Yeah. So my dad was a really good sports person. So I grew up in outside a little town called Hayfield in country Victoria. And I went to school in Sale, which is where Scott Pendlebury's from, of course. And so big football area where I grew up. And my dad was a gun cricketer and footballer. I wished I was a good cricketer. I was a terrible cricketer. Like one of those kids who really I went every week. And most of my day was I can juggle quite well. And people are like, how did you learn how to juggle? And I was like, not being good at batting. That's how I learned how to juggle, standing on the sidelines with some cricket balls and not much else to do. That's how I learned to juggle. But I was the height that I am now, 6'2.5", when I was about 12 years old. And so from the ages of 12 to 15, I dominated schoolboy football, because I was just bigger than everybody else, And so I played under 15 schoolboy football and played at quite a high level. And then every other kid hit puberty and just rushed straight by me. And then that was the end of my sporting career.
All right, far out. Guess you've never really had, certainly no blowouts after premierships then if you were, between the ages of 12 and 16.
No, never had a premiership blowout, but I will tell you, this is an absolutely true story. When I went to university, I went in Canberra and I was still playing decent football at that stage. And I was in Canberra. So I thought, you know what, I'm from Victoria. I've been playing a decent level of football. I'm going to come into this local Canberra competition. And, they used to pay players to play in the first in Canberra, and I was like, well, this will be my part-time job while I'm at university. So I rolled down to this club in Canberra and they say, well, we'll give you a game in the under-19s, and whoever plays best in the under-19s today, we're going to play them in the seniors later on this afternoon. It's like $500 or something to play. And I was like, well, this is perfect. This is going to be me. And I go out and I play the best game that I leave it all out there. This is literally the best game that I could possibly play. And they end up picking this other guy who would play quite well as well. And I remember saying to people out loud, I was like, there is no way that guy played better than me. There is no way that guy was a better footballer than me. Anyway, that guy was James Hurd. So it turns out.
Okay.
So the year he won the Brownlow, I reckon I got 10 calls from my mates just going, yeah, no way he's a better footballer than you are, mate.
It all turned around in the end anyway. So.
I mean, yeah, the truth is, if we ever thought that one of us had had a career destroyed for drugs, it was going to be the other way around. So I didn't see that coming.
Oh my God, that's amazing, mate.
All right. So you've got the new show. You are hosting it with Jan Fran. It's Question Everything. Tell us all about it.
So basically, this is about what you can believe in the news. So this is a show based on, like, the best way to put it is, have you really been paying attention? What happens if you don't just read the headlines and you read the actual articles? Because we know now, I mean, Lingy, you know this yourself. Every time you can say something and then suddenly there's a headline in the paper that isn't exactly representative of what it is that you actually said. So this show is based around that idea. What is the difference between if you just read the headlines and, you know, had the gist of the news, as opposed to what is really going on in the news? So it's a comedy quiz show around that with a panel of comedians. It's going to be a really fun time.
I imagine there are a million topics you can probably hit with this, because you're spot on. That is what a lot of the news is. But what are the big ones you're going to nail early on with the show?
Well, I mean, this week there's been so many things that we can talk about. There's like, I mean, obviously there'll be some grand final related stuff. I'm sure will be in there. We're going to be looking at, you know, this Optus hack, because there's obviously a lot of misinformation around the Optus hack. But there is one story that I think everybody will love that we've been following. I don't know if you've been following this story of the cheating in chess. Do you know this story?
Yes, with the upward.
Yeah, the anal beads. You can say anal beads. That is it's okay. It's not a swear word. It's a real product. It has been alleged that a guy has been cheating in chess using electronic anal beads to send in Morse code like messages. And we have been delving into the truth of this article, trying to find where it came from. We will on Wednesday night, if you are curious about whether that is true or not, where it came from, how it got into the media, we're going to do a deep dive into that topic.
Deep dive into anal beads. It sounds great.
See, now it's fun to say it. Yeah, you hesitated. Now you've just jumped in.
Yeah. I guess, you know, Media Watch is kind of around the same vein. Is the guy that hosts Media Watch, I've forgotten his name, Paul whatever.
Paul Barry, whatever.
Yeah,
Paul whatever.
He's like, hey, get on saying your own turf. I'm the one that questions everything.
I mean, it is a good point, but we think the difference between our shows ours will be funny.
Yeah. And you'll talk about anal beads too.
Yeah, we'll go where he dare not. You don't see Paul Barry talking about anal beads.
You're obviously dealing with the news of the week, so it's not being filmed yet, so it's live TV.
That's right. Oh, well, no, we don't do it live for legal reasons, basically, but we do it. We film it as live the night before and then edit out anything that we can't actually put directly to air. But the reason we do that is also, and you would know this from your radio experience, is that sometimes when you're self-censoring, people self-censor way before the line. Whereas like when you say to people, you can say whatever it is that you want to say. And if you go too far, we can cut it out later and not hang out to dry. You tend to get the best stuff. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to cut all that out before it goes.
You just flick a few messages around before you do it. Just to a few of the people that you know within the meeting and go, hey, just going to apologize in advance here. You might get your nose out of joint with this one.
Oh, Lingy, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. I probably should do that. You're absolutely right.
He's had to do it a couple of times.
And does it help? Does it help to give him a heads up?
Never.
All right, Will Anderson, we've loved having a chat to you this morning. Cannot wait to see Question Everything, ABC, September 28th. That's this Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Mate, we're looking forward to seeing you dismantle everything.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it was really nice to talk to you, and congratulations to all the Geelong fans. I hope you're very happy.
Tom, Lingy and Loggy on K-Rock 955.